Hello everybody, welcome back to another Fnaf video. Today we're not going to be playing Fnaf, today we're going to be talking about its lore. Let's start off with William Afton. He is also known as Purple Guy and Springtrap. He was the main antagonist of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. He was the serial killer responsible for the murder of a dozen children over the period of about a decade, as well as the founder of Fredbear's Family Diner and Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Afton is visualized as a tall, abnormal purple figure with a giant grin on his face, representing how he hides in the shadows during his killing sprees and the pleasure he takes in his crimes. In the early 1980s, Afton and his best friend and business partner Henry Emily opened the first Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location. Henry manufactured, built, and designed the four main animatronic entertainers, which was Freddy Fazbear, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, while William would handle the business side of things, such as managing paperwork and finances. Afton had a strange fascination with the spring Bonnie suit, so much that he actually wore it in the pizzeria via using a hand crane to move the inner metal parts of the suit away from his face, chest, arms, and legs. By doing this, Afton could slip into the suit without worry of being impaled. However, on the date of June 26, 1985, Afton abducted and murdered 5 children by luring them into a back room dressed in a prior mentioned rabbit costume. He would then hide their corpses to avoid getting caught, possibly in the animatronic costumes. Police arrested Afton, but he was let go due to a lack of evidence and the bodies never being found. This caused the spirits of the dead children to possess the animatronics, and yes, they were hungry for vengeance. Many years later, Afton returned to the establishment once it had been abandoned and in order to destroy the animatronics for an unknown reason, possibly out of paranoia. But all this did was free the spirits of the children inside, and they swamped the killer. Physically unable to harm him, they chased Afton into a back room where he was cornered. Inside said room was the same rabbit suit that Afton wore to kill them. Afton put on the suit in order to fool them, but he forgot the suit was a damaged spring-lock suit. At this point, Afton began manically laughing at his victims, believing he was untouchable and could get away due to them just being children. However, due to the shaky movements and moisture dripping from the damaged roof, the inner mechanical parts of the costume all activated at once. With Afton pressed right against them, every part of his body was impaled and was bludgeoned into pieces, and he dropped to the floor twitching in shock, where he lay and bled out right in front of the very same children he tormented for years. With Afton suffering a horrific death, the children were presumably able to pass away peacefully, leaving him to convulse on the floor in the abandoned room. Almost immediately afterwards, the backroom door was sealed by an unknown entity, leaving him there to rot for the next 30 years. Sometime after his demise, Afton woke up in his own pool of blood, alone and decomposing. Due to his iron will to live, his soul was unable to rest and move on to the afterlife, resulting in Afton being permanently encased in the confines of his own creation. In the year of 2023, he was found by a couple of college students wanting to make a quick buck and put inside Fazbear's Fright, a horror attraction based on an infamous past of the Freddy Fazbear Pizza. Now free to do what he pleases, he abandons his old identity and accepts his gruesome rebirth, calling himself the Springtrap. Springtrap is a lumbering oath that contains Afton's mutilated face and intestines crammed inside. He stalked the guard of the horror attraction until the place caught on fire. This took at least 1 week for this building to catch on fire, decimating the restaurant and damaging Springtrap's hide. The guard escaped but left Springtrap inside. Eventually, the flames had been extinguished, but he was nowhere to be seen. Afton seemingly rebuilt himself out of scrap, turning into this abomination called Scraptrap. Scraptrap's final remaining son, Michael Afton, decided to put an end to his father once and for all due to him just being rebirthed all the time. Alongside Henry Emily, Scraptrap and multiple other animatronics were lured to a fake restaurant that was covered in highly flammable materials, luring the animatronics into the compact offices and bin systems. Henry set the building on fire whilst berating Scraptrap, saying, "Now he is going to go to the darkest pit of hell." Michael, finally at peace, allowed himself to be consumed by the flames, and so did Henry, just after apologizing to his daughter, who was one of Scraptrap's victims in the past. Scraptrap is last seen frantically clawing at the closing door, locking him inside the flaming building. He lets out a final roar of hate and rage, realizing he won't escape, and is devoured by the flames as the building collapses, finally ending his life and ensuring he cannot come back. But as he says, he always comes back.
I always come